All right, welcome back, ladies and gentlemen. Sean here with BlueRidgeSilverhound. It is officially August, and we have officially the first pocket change market report for the month, this time for August 3rd, 2022. A lot of great stuff to talk about today as we delve deeper into just the market of some of these errors and varieties continue to remain strong. We're going to talk a lot about some of the coins you can find today on some of the newer coins, but also some coins that you could find and cherry pick yourself from yesteryear. They're all pretty good. They're all really good coins out there that you could buy for next to literally nothing. Turn around and kind of make it a second income if you really wanted it to. Now, if this is your first time here, we take a look about the last 48 hours of eBay activity, all completed sales, of course, of errors and varieties that people have found going through pocket change, coin roll hunting, cherry picking the local coin shop or coin show, and most importantly, nothing's graded. And the big reason why we talk about ungraded coins specifically in this report is that it adds a tremendous amount of cost, to the coin. Let's say if you have an error that traditionally would sell for between $20 and $50, sometimes it just doesn't make any sense to grade it, because in hindsight, the coin will sell for itself, and so will the error. All right, so you're going to see that well represented across many dollar figures. It's going to blow your mind, folks. All right, so we're going to take a look at all of the listings again from the last couple days, all original photos that we're looking at here, nothing juiced or doctored. So you get the best and the worst that people do upload, and they still manage to sell. All right, so this is a relatively good picture here, 2021 P, a coin that we are very familiar with to this point, but I like to update the market weekly because, well, there's going to become a time where coins will kind of retrace in value after release, and normally that time period as well, anytime the calendar flips over to the next year. People are concentrating on the newest and biggest things out there, so they tend to forget coins like the Crown Die Chip Error that can only be found on the Philadelphia minted quarters. Now, there is one type that was found on Denver's. All right, they're probably about as big as what you're seeing here, so that'd be another good one to look out for. But the Philadelphias, there's a bunch of different progressions. This is what I consider to be the medium-sized Crown Die Chip. This coin right here, I'm happy to say, sold for $47.99. And that's kind of been the average sale price for the medium progression for about the last 6 to 8 months. Hasn't really gone anywhere, hasn't gone up, hasn't gone down, and that's good. We're seeing stability with this particular error. The larger Crown Die Chip have settled somewhere in that $80 to $100 range. We do have one to talk about here today on this video, so stay tuned. Next one that we have here is going to be one of a number of different doubled dies that you can look out for a very special date, and that's going to be the 1972 Lincoln Memorial Cent. Now, there's about 9 or so really nice doubled dies, and they're all highly coveted, and people are looking to assemble full mint state sets of all the doubled dies, all of the major kind of, I guess, cherry picker's guide FS numbered coins. The one that we have here is an FS 102, or it's DDO number 2, however you want to classify it as. This one ended up selling for $100. Here's a couple close-ups. Check out the massive doubling in the motto, "In God We Trust." And, of course, you have pretty good doubling. And these are all, by the way, seller supplied photos on their listing. Liberty was cut off. I didn't do that myself. But you could see the clear doubling on Liberty, just a tremendous amount of spread. But you could also see it to an extent on the date. Although not the most impressive part of the doubling, but you could see the double tail of the 9, and you could see just areas there where you have notching and splits and stuff. Again, $100 bill is where this one sold for, which is a pretty good amount of money, and we'll continue to see strong secondary market activity from most of the double dies of 72. Now here's a really well circulated 1989 P off-center struck Washington quarter. It's not a fantastic piece, but if someone needs it for a date set of this particular era, then this is the one right here. The photos were taken of the coin inside of a 2x2 holder, so it was a little bit dark. There's a little bit of glare in certain areas. The coin did sell for $21.99. And typically $15 to $20 is kind of the floor for a lot of these 1980s off-center struck coins. So something to keep in mind if you come across these, and they are out there in change, they do carry a pretty decent amount of value. Now the shocker of the week has to be this coin here. It's a Lincoln wheat cent. Kind of hard to tell what any of the date is. You can see the 1 and 9, but this is a lamination peel. That occurred and fell off many years ago because it recirculated and you have a lot of grease and gunk in there. But apparently it was major enough to gain the attention of one such buyer. This was scooped up on a buy it now listing for $44.05, which is like way out there in the marketplace. But there you go. It's just, people will spend however much they see a coin is worth. Sometimes with error collecting, there's really no set or finite dollar value assigned to most coins. It's like, oh yeah, this coin traditionally sells for $10 to $15. Well, not when one sells for $30. That kind of changes the market perspectives on that coin. Same for this. Like I could tell you, 3 years ago, this type of lamination, you couldn't even give it away for $1 to $2, but that's irrelevant because it sold for $44 and there was a market. Someone really wanted this to add to their collection. The next one that we have here is one of my favorites. I always wake up every morning with the idea that I can find one of these going through bankrolls, and I continuously try, and I try, and I try some more. Between the 1984 doubled ear or DDO that you see here and the 1983 DDR, those are like two very high on my list of coins that I prefer to find in change. But, some people are more luckier than others. I'm just not one of those people yet. All right. One day that'll happen. But you can see the doubled earlobe on this. It's also FS 101 in the Cherry Picker's Guide. These things are hot. If they're problem-free, you're going to command all the money in the world for them. This one, no exception, ended up selling for $207.50. It used to be, again, 3 years ago, before the numismatics market caught fire, this was a $50 to $100 coin in this condition. It was only until you got into like full red mid-state examples where $200 was kind of the average going price. But we're seeing such a huge market shift for some of the most popular varieties that it has changed the pricing landscape, and it's wild. Yeah, it's no longer as affordable as it used to be. Coughing up $200 is kind of a bitter pill for me to swallow because I could have gotten one of these for a lot cheaper. But if you find them, yeah, they're still big money. So we do have a few lots to talk about. The first one that we have here is a lot of 5 1999 Lincoln Memorial cents. They're all off-center, all right, to a degree, probably like 15-20% at the most on a few examples. They all exhibit full dates. But the idea is, do you see opportunity of picking up a lot like this so that way you could resell it, all right? Which is a way people will try and make money off of the hobby, is trying to buy up lots in bulk and then reselling it, and then hopefully double or tripling their money. Now this one right here ended up selling for $59, okay, which doesn't leave a whole lot of room. That gives right around a $12 cost basis for each coin, and at that point, well, this is one of your more common dates to find off-center struck. examples, and it shows because we have 5 of them sitting right here in our faces. So this one, not a lot of opportunity really. It's going to be a tough sell trying to put these up on eBay at $19.99 shipped a piece, and that's not going to guarantee you too much money when it's all said and done. But if you want it for your collection, that's all gravy, because this is a really nice lot of 5 errors. There was also a seller that was selling bulk buffalo nickels, all with readable dates, and they come in groups of 100. So this seller here had them at $75 shipped to your door. He or she had sold 2 lots here in the last few days. So here's another one right here. This is just kind of like a generic picture that they used of their lots. It's not going to be the same coins, but, if you have a lot of like 1930s, kind of like that VF, XF range of nickel, where traditionally they're not worth more than maybe $1 or $2, you could probably bundle it up and sell it as you see here. This is going to appeal to folks that want to probably fill up a low-end kind of folder or album, or perhaps for the engraver that likes to do hobo nickels. Okay, they like coins with full dates on there. So $75, and the seller says it's unsearched. So you never know, you could find an RPM in there or something to that effect. Now, this is always a big one. I always tell folks, hey, if you can't trust yourself of identifying a true blue 55 DDO, please buy one that's graded, because the pricing is not going to be too far off whack. This particular example ended up selling for $1,705. Call it maybe an XF45 grade, which is, even in a graded holder, is still going to be somewhere in like that $1,700 to $1,900 range. This one, from what I could see and using the markers that I know of, this one looks good. It's nothing that's going to draw a red flag. And we've seen a number of raw 55 DDOs sell in the marketplace, and especially here on eBay. And I would be confident in owning this particular coin. And the cool thing is, it looks problem-free. That's what I like about this coin. And this one ended up selling again for $1,705. Another just really pretty coin that, if you're in this hobby for the long run, you might want to consider picking up one of these coins just to have in your collection. This is kind of like the Chase. This is a Chase coin, and it's not too wildly expensive where you're going to have to take out a second mortgage on your house. $1,500 to $2,000 for a decent example that's problem-free is usually palatable for a lot of folks. Now here's another lot. This time we have 5 year 2000 Lincoln Memorial cents, and they're all the same, a little off-center, a little broad stroke in there. It's really identifying, is this an opportunity? And this lot sold for $25 shipped to your door, which puts a $5 cost basis each coin. I would say this lot, less the previous lot, you could easily double up your money. Throw it up on eBay at $12.99 shipped a piece, put in a plain white envelope, and you'll end up making about $5-6 profit after fees. So not too bad. This would be a lot that if I were interested in, I would probably pick it up and just something to add to my store. They're not going to be sellers right away, but you'll probably end up selling all 5 of these, and they all look good too. You'll probably end up selling all of these within a few months' time. They are, quite the liquid type of error, and people want a lesser expensive alternative to some of the big ones out there. All right, so this is one that you don't see that often, 1980D Kennedy half dollar. So for all you roll hunters out there, take note. This one has the missing FG initials on the reverse, which is going to be usually right here. So it's just an area on the die that was abraded away or over polished to the point where the initials just disappeared. Okay, so this shows up on a number of different dates. Unfortunately, the 80D is not recognized in the Cherry Picker's Guide or anywhere, but it does exist here in person. This one sold for $26.70, which is a fair amount of money actually for a very well circulated example, and a date that you don't traditionally see. Alright, so the pictures aren't too great, but we have a 1945p Silver War nickel with a lamination on the reverse. Kind of commonplace for these, along with improper alloy mixes. Those are quite common on the Silver War era of nickels as well. This one ended up selling for $31.99, which is a lot more than I've seen sell for this particular anomaly. So with that being said, look out for these, because if someone's paying $30 a pop for them, you might have the opportunity to do that for yourself. Just, take a little bit better photos that aren't as out of focus. Now, this is an intriguing one. Man, how often do we see errors on any of the territory quarters of 2009? We just don't, all right? This one right here is not a strike through, and that's what the seller thought he had, was a double-sided strike through. It's close, but if you could see the area in which it's weak on both sides, it's actually in the same area on both corresponding sides of the coin. And just looking at the rim, it's a little bit weak there on the reverse on that side. And I've come to the conclusion that this appears to be a tapered planchet. Tapered means it was rolled thin on one side of the planchet, while the other side was of regular tolerance, I guess, for thickness. So we had a planchet that was a little bit off, so to speak. And this one right here is going to be your byproduct of what a tapered planchet strike will look like. This one right here, impressive, sold for $36.65 with 11 bids. Again, we don't see errors on territory quarters of 09, and we don't see this type of error on any of the statehoods or territories that often. So this is kind of a unique piece here. Oh boy, well, we gotta talk about it because it's here, and it's a seller. 2022 Wilma Mankiller Philadelphia minted coin. With this time we have a pretty good die crack and interior die chip breakage area right on the corner of the mouth. It's actually quite impressive compared to some of the other ones we've seen on other quarters. This one ended up selling for $18.58. It's a buy it now. So yeah, just letting you know that these are selling. I've seen a number of them sell here in the last couple weeks. And again, another opportunity. If you find these, oftentimes you're not going to find just one. You're going to find many of them, as they're all struck from the same sets of dies. So, yeah, a pretty good money-making opportunity here. They're not going to be quick sellers, but, one that sells here and there every so often, that's not bad. They all add up. Not an error or variety, just a really nice semi-key Walking Liberty half dollar. So if you did find one of these, maybe in an old inheritance collection that you have, maybe perhaps it's in an album or, just sitting in a little jewelry box or something like that. Just know that the 30 AD is a little bit tougher date. It is a little bit lower mintage. And, Walking Liberty half collectors is a very deep pool of folks. They're going to want this coin in any condition. This one, it looks to be about a VF20, maybe a 25. And it's sold for $49 with 10 total bits. So that's a pretty good one there. Now this one right here is crazy. 1999D Lincoln Memorial Cent is struck off center by about 70%. Furthermore, it's a uniface. So it's got a completely blank reverse there, which means that there were two planchets stacked on top of each other, maybe a little bit offset from each other during the strike, and that's how you receive that uniface unstruck area on the reverse. This one right here sold for $18, and again, this is a very niche type of error that will go into a date set for the most part. And always look through your old beat-up silver Morgans, because you can find this coin and it's not particularly rare. So we're looking at a 1882 Morgan dollar. It's going to be the O over S over mint mark variety. This is a well-known VAM, which is a variety for Morgans. And if we look up close, you can see that kind of like diagonal bar of the S going through the middle of the O. It's a very distinguishable over mint mark. Again, not particularly rare. I've cherry-picked quite a few of these in my lifetime, just going through bulky, kind of like generic silver lots. And I always, I'll buy them up for 25 bucks a piece, or however much they want them for, and sell them for double. So I double up 2x every single time I find one of these. They're neat and intriguing. And of course, you guys know Morgan Dollars, again, a very deep pool of collectors. This one sold for $61 with 12 total bids getting there. Now here's a really nice 2000p Jefferson nickel. It's mighty minty fresh, very brilliant. Yeah, it's a little bit off center, maybe about 10% or so. Probably has a little bit of a partial tilted collar as well. You can see the extra step right here. And this one sold for $48.79. Again, very clean looking coin. This is not the atypical selling price for such coins, but when they're clean and they have full steps and that's what they love, they'll pay that kind of money. Yeah, you're not imagining things. The overprint is upside down. All right, so they call this an inverted overprint. So the sheet was the wrong way when the third print or overprint was applied. All right, which makes, well, the district seals, the quad digit areas on the corners, and the serial numbers all upside down. Very rare to find and very rare to see ungraded and sold on the market. This one ended up selling for $307.47 with 14 bids. There's a little bit of the back showing the condition. It's actually in really nice shape with a little bit of circulation wear. Another favorite of mine, this Lincoln cent here, was struck through a die cap. So the die cap is a coin that is stuck to the hammer die, all right, which means it's kind of like it's stuck like a hat on there. So when it strikes subsequent coins, it's going to strike through this this coin hat on the die, which will leave just a blank. Usually, sometimes there will be a brockage, which is just a mirrored image of that die cap that's been transferred onto the coin during the strike. Or it could be a late stage where you could see design elements from the actual host die on there, like you could see date and Lincoln's profile. But this one's kind of like a mid-state where you don't have any of that. This one sold for 40 bucks. Again, another top tier, top flight error. That is always good, guaranteed money if you wanted it to be. All right, we got another pretty interesting note here. 2013 $1 bill. You probably already see it. It's got the good old, what they call gas pump digit or turn digit in the error community. So that second 7 is turned and higher than the rest. As you can see there, pretty cool nickname. I actually like gas pump digit more so than turn digit because it reminds me of a day back in the 50s when I did not exist, where all the gas pumps had the mechanical, numbers on there for gallons and whatnot. This one right here ended up selling for $39.19. Wow, that's a pretty healthy amount of money there for that one. And that's with 24 bids. Very nice. All right, this one's so minor it's to drive you nuts. But it's on there. 2021 P Jefferson nickel. Guess what? It's got a little bit of a die crack that goes from the rim and into the base of Monticello. Yeah, I mean, that's minor, right? Most of us would overlook stuff like that or haphazardly think that there's no value whatsoever in these. But, this person sold this for $9.99. The pictures are just suitable enough to show this, and it was an erstwhile sale. I'm willing to bet that he or she, if they find more, will end up selling more of these. All right, so here's a big topic coin. This is a rarity. I've only talked about this particular cut die break twice ever since I started the PCMR, which is roughly 3 years ago. But it's right there on the reverse, right there underneath the word America. This is a scarce one. And oftentimes people, when they look for cut die break errors on coins, they'll fail to look at the reverse. You would be surprised how many people don't flip the coin over when they don't see something or a big payoff on their coin. But you need to flip it over because of the size of the cut, you're not going to get too much of that weakness on the obverse, and you just don't see it. You see a little bit right on the rim, but most people that kind of overlook the reverse, they'll look and see if there's any other diagnostical features they could point out for a cut and just not see it. So this one ended up selling in its current condition, which is pretty circulated, for $23.27 with 5 bids. There are a number of very sneaky rare cut die breaks, specifically on nickels and dimes. There are a number of them on Roosevelt dimes that if you guys aren't looking for them, or you're not flipping that coin over to look at the reverse, you're definitely missing out. You're leaving a lot on the table when you do that. The key to success is to look at every coin and be 100% complete about it. Don't overlook, the minor details like things like this. Oh, here's a good looking one here, 1995 Lincoln Memorial DDO. This is the FS101. We all know what this one looks like. It's got the wild and crazy doubling on the word liberty and on most of the motto, "In God We Trust." This one is going to be popular for ages, and it's a very attractive coin for as common as they are. This one ended up selling for $54.98. And we also have an undated Lincoln Memorial cent. It's a copper, all right? So it's a pre-1982. It's about 50% off center. And this one right here sold for $24.50 with 24 bids. And how about a clip? We got a nice little curved clip on this 1965 Roosevelt dime. Not a coin that people would normally look for, and it is a tougher date for errors, for sure. The coin is in really nice shape. This was probably found many years ago. This one ended up selling for $13.37, which is a very good amount of money for as common as clipped errors are. Yeah, this picture's not that good, but as you can see, it's a 2013 B Federal Reserve note dollar bill. This is indeed the duplicate star. All right, so the Fort Worth and Washington, D.C. BEP facilities double printed these serial numbers on these star notes. All right, and you could always tell which one's the D.C. and Fort Worth is that when you look up close to the plate here. The Fort Worth examples will have a little tiny FW next to this large capital D to designate a Fort Worth printing. The ones without it were printed at the DC facility, which is good. All right, this one was printed back in 2013 while the Fort Worth printing occurred at the beginning of 2017. So the Washington, D.C. ones are far more scarcer to find today, especially in higher grades. This one is actually in nice condition. This particular note right here sold for $40.59 with 21 bids, which is generally about double what a Fort Worth star note would sell for. So here's our other crown die chip. The coin is very well circulated. I'm telling you, I mean, it's not a beauty like we're used to seeing on some of these, but this is the larger scaled crown die chip that you could find on these. This one ended up selling for $101. Nice. We were back over $100 on these for a while. We were down to like $80-90, and I was like, man, I guess that's it for this one. But we do have a confirmed sale, $101 on a pretty well circulated example. And we did have another one of these sold. This one just kind of came out of nowhere. I believe this is like a one-day listing because I didn't see this on my radar, and I am constantly monitoring the market for the Wilma Mankiller retain cut errors. These things are incredibly major. They're massive. They are big right now in the hobby. This one features just the obverse retain cut, as you can see right above Washington's head. Yeah, still haven't seen clean pictures of these coins from eBay, which is crazy. But this one was sold from a seller with zero feedback, so a brand new seller. This one realized $225 for this one with one bid. The prices are all over the place right now. We've seen the single-sided retained cut sell for as high as $500 or so, and we see them for $300. We see them for $75, $100, and then now we have this one here at $225. There's going to be no normalcy until we get into the holidays. I want to see what this coin does during the holidays, if and only if people are still finding them. Now this one's pretty crazy. This is a 1999 Roosevelt dime. It's off center, by about 25%. It does have its warts though. It's got some damage. You can see it there on the reverse. A pretty substantial scratch that goes across the coin there. But yeah, this is a coin that I'm willing to bet not a lot of people actually find and would need for a Roosevelt off-center strike date set. This one ended up selling for $39.99. I can only imagine how much a coin would sell for if it didn't have any damage whatsoever. Probably $50-$60. Here's one I haven't seen in a little while either. This is the 2019 P. Lowell National Park quarter. This time with a pretty nice strike through on the obverse there, right on the base of Washington's bust. Okay, this is what they call the field restricted strike through, where the feeder finger actually plays a role in how these are formed. The feeder finger has grease on it as well, so when it's aiding in the ejection and the placement of the planchets into the striking chamber, it actually scrapes atop the die. All right, and in this case, it's going to be the anvil die that's getting all of the love from so-called feeder finger. And every time it scrapes up against the die, it shifts and moves around the paste grease area on there as well. So normally you'll see different sizes and shapes of the strike through. This one, $20 bill is what we ended up here on this one, which seems low, but not a lot of people, I would guess, know about this one. They're not actively looking for a strike through lull because it wasn't one of those kind of like target coins and dates and national parks that would have something like this. This one's cool. Cuds are indeed king. And we have a 1917 S Lincoln with a pretty good sized cud on the reverse there. That thing is just beautiful. But yeah, if you're a searcher of Lincoln cents, this is always something to look out for. They exist all throughout a bunch of different dates. This one sold for $60.98 with 2 bids. Beautiful, beautiful coin. We got a couple more to talk about here. How about this $1 bill? I mean, the only thing going on with this one is that serial number. Fancy serial number collecting is a huge part of the currency game today. There are actually dedicated Facebook groups to serial number fancies and all sorts of great stuff. Even error notes. It's a pretty big community, and there's a lot of people that are hunting out for pretty nice low serial numbers among a few other fancies. We have this one here, 2017 A dollar bill, a low serial number 236 on there. Is a stunner. Even it's circulated. It's a, poetry in motion. This one ended up selling for $29.50 with 6 bids. Keeping in mind that, yes, you can pull $1 out of your wallet if it has exactly what collectors are looking for. Yeah, they do sell for over face value. I mean, what a concept, right? And, there are a big, massive group of people that don't like looking through paper money for whatever reason. I'm like, okay, that leaves more for everybody else. All right, we're going to go ahead and end it off on the big strike through, of course, on the American Samoa. Another one has sold. I'm telling you, these things all of a sudden are popping up in the marketplace, like a freshman's pimply face, What else can I say? the coin is going to live on to be one of the most iconic kind of coins to help define a generation of such poor quality from the U.S. Mint. And this one, I would say, is probably one of the coins that's front and center. It's a coin that is over 2 years old as of right now. And, you know, that strike through is just, you can't miss it for anything. This one right here ended up selling for $283.96 with 18 bids. This is one that, again, I'm glad I got my copy. And I paid a whole lot more money for it than I probably should have. But yeah, I'm just glad to have one. These coins, as they begin to dry up, you know, what's it going to look like 5 years from now when there's none of these out there? That's all I'm saying. You know, you guys could fill in the blanks. But that's it. Huge sale to wrap up the midweek edition of the Pocket Change Market Report. Thank you, my friends and family, for tuning in. Hopefully this gives you a little bit of inspiration to do a little hunting of your own. There's a lot to look for out there. Don't forget to like, share, and subscribe to my channel and my video. If you haven't done so already, shame on you. You should be doing that already. I would say about 19.2348% of my viewing audience is actually subscribed to my channel. So, yeah, pretty good analytics there, huh? But that's going to go ahead and do it. I'm your host, Sean. As always, love you guys. Coinaholics, we are discovering together. Go ahead and get yourself a lion's share of some of the prizes that exist out in Change. And that's going to go ahead and do it. I'll see you next time on a coin video. So long.